Good day. I am Jose Zapata and want you to know my answers about an activity proposed for didactics of math. The first one, how can you make a first approach to mathematics learning? Okay. I think the first thing we need to do is to start from what I already know. Okay? Because people think the math isn't something you build. I mean, people think math is just, okay, learn multiplications and then another thing and something like that. And that is how math does not really work. How math works. Okay, it works by building a knowledge. You first learn numbers, then you learn how to count them, and then how to sum to sum to add numbers, and then you learn to multiplicate and go on and go on and go on. So I think the first thing we need to do is to establish we already know, and then it's important also to set up all the things that help me to encourage to help me to learn math. I mean my strengths and also my weaknesses. Why? Because if I know in where I if I know what are my weaknesses, what my weaknesses are, if I know that, then I know where I need to work more. Okay, so I think the most important thing is to start where my knowledge is. Second question. What must you know about math before you do a class? I think the very first thing to take into account is to understand how mathematics work, how math works. Why? Because people, let's do an example. Multiplication. People in math teachers used to learn multiplication in only one way. You can only multiplicate in one way. Okay? And that's wrong. Because people think multiplication works in one way. And that's not the fact. I mean, multiplication can be developed in different ways. Because if you understand how multiplication works, how really is multiplication, what really is multiplication, where it comes from, then you can imagine all the ways you can multiply because you understand the concept. Math isn't a mechanical thing, it's an understanding thing, because math are thoughts in numbers, so you can become the thought into a mechanical thing. It is an understanding. So I think that's the very first thing, to understand how math works. Third one, what are some ways to learn mathematics as a teacher? Okay, as I said, the very first thing is to learn how math works, to understand math, to understand what you are doing. If you multiply, you need to understand why are you multiplicating, what that means. I mean, you need to understand. But another thing different to that is to try thinking of different ways of understanding a task or exercise. You know, for example, let's think an assignment for math. Peter has 2 apples, and then he lost one. How many apples does he have? Something like that. So try to look at that exercise in different ways. Not to be like I mean, don't be in one way. You need to open your mind in different ways of understand that exercise. So I think that's the main point. Next one. Give other examples about teachers' mistakes when students are wrong. I think, as you can see, that's my thought to understand math. And I think that's the main point. Teachers, when correct students, used to correct the way students make a solving. For example, when a student solve a problem, let's say it has a mistake, but the student has a way to solve the exercise. And teacher used to correct not only the mistake, but also the way he solved that exercise. I think teachers must teach different ways of solving an exercises so students can be understood. I mean, students can understand what that solving means. I mean, what solving a math exercise means, so they can choose the way they feel more comfortable. So that way, when they are solving, they feel comfortable, they feel encouraged, they feel confident, because they choose the way they feel more confident, you know. So I guess teachers should be more, I don't know. They shouldn't forbid the students to do different ways of solving an exercise. Next one. According to your point of view, what do you consider is essential in the mathematics learning process? As I said, the same thing. I mean, what's essential in mathematics learning process? Try not to look math as a mechanical thing. So learning multiplication tables or learning something by memory, try not to use memory. Try to use your understanding. Not just 2 plus 2 is 4. No. Why 2 plus 2 is 4? You can explain to me why 2 plus 2 is 4? Many people used to say 2 plus 2 is 4 because 2, 1, 2 plus 1 and 2 is 4. It's the same thing. They can't explain it because they don't understand. They only just learned it by memory. So try not to use your memory. Try to use your understanding. The more essential thing is to create significant learning outcomes through understanding, not through memory. And the last one, how important do you consider interdisciplinarity is, and how do you consider BA Math and BA in English can work together to encourage students' learning process. Okay, I think interdisciplinarity is important because the same thing, you can open your mind to different points of view of understanding a problem or a thing or an issue presented in a classroom. For example, math help in building a more objective thought because math is logical. So you learned how to separate your emotions from your thoughts. So math help teachers to be more objective at the moment of or at the moment of solving a problem. So how BA math help in or how BA math can work together with BA in English? It helps BA in English teachers to be more objective, especially when it comes to understand students, because sometimes teachers try to do an emotional class, an affective class, and it doesn't help because students might mm, might take the class as something that isn't important. So math helps teachers to be more objective, and not only about that but also because math help teachers in problem solving, in objective thoughts, in students understanding. Thank you so much.